Sorry, guys, we just call this meeting to order. Excuse me, we'll call in the meeting to order here, so. Welcome everybody, to the public hearing of March 25th, 2026. I'd like to just start off tonight by acknowledging again, tonight we're gathered on Treaty 5 territory, which is the ancestral lands of our good friends and neighbors, the Opaskwayak Cree Nation, as well as many other Indigenous peoples, and as well as the homeland of the Red River Métis people. I'll call this meeting to order. Just to make, as a notice here, we've got Councillor Forster is not here. Councillor Commodore has sent her regrets. She's not available tonight. So with that, somebody should have a resolution to adopt the agenda.
Move by myself, second by Councillor Allen, be resolved the agenda be adopted as presented.
Call question on that. All in favor? None opposed. That's 5-0 carried. Before we get started, I do just want to sort of highlight a couple of things. I made a couple of little notes here that I'll just touch on a little bit. So, appreciate the people that are here tonight, and the people online watching, and taking the time out to sort of follow this process through. Tonight's meeting is about completing the second and third readings of this zoning change for the Devon Park to move from parks and recreation to commercial. And the reason why the council is having these discussions around this is that we have developers that are, interested in our community, not only in the town of the Pas, but the Arden-Kelsey, but also, interested to get moving. And some of the things that happen is that, or what it is, our responsibility is sort of remove those barriers if there's going to be any there. So this is really about early groundwork. And this is what the Planning Act asks us to do. So, we went out and did the first reading, made the public notice, made sure that we can have a public hearing. We still have some caveats on the original land that we need to work our way through, but this is really step one of sort of moving that process forward. What happens after tonight, like I said, if there's not 100 objectors, and which I don't believe that we have those in the room, so we'll be requesting the movement of the second and third reading. As I mentioned, that we do have some other things that have to be checked, some other boxes that have to be checked to continue to move this forward. And we will continue to work through that so that we meet all the requirements. But at the end of the day, what the goal is really simple, is that we're really trying to remove barriers for developers to be able to develop in our community. We want to support that development, and we always talk about it and we always hear it, but our community really does have to be shovel ready so that things are going. So that's where we're at. I don't know if anybody else from council wants to say anything before we get started.
I'll comment once we have the resolution on the floor. I don't know if anybody from the public has.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask next. So, is there any comments, concerns from the public?
So the rezoning is going to be both of these areas, sir?
So the rezoning is that, so we're taking that area and changing the entire area from parks and recreation to commercial, whatever the name of what else is, commercial central zone. But keep in mind that it doesn't mean automatically that all of that land now is just commercial. That's the only thing can be there. It'll still be at council's decision every single time there's a development to decide whether it's going to move forward or not. So if you follow through recent meetings with council or what we've heard, there's talk of a legacy project with the Rotary to sort of develop that waterfront area where the dock is, and with the visitor center, and sort of make it sort of more park-like there, so it's welcoming. Talking about potentially visitor centers, chamber of commerce going into those areas. So that would be one spot. The area today that's being interested is sort of closer to where Extra Foods is or where Brody's No Frills is today, coming off the highway. So as you come in there, so the first step is there's a footprint that's sort of been looking at, so it's kind of where the flag is. And we will ensure that whatever changes are made there with the flag and that it's relocated to an appropriate spot. So that we can continue to have the green space that's active, that's when it's used. So there's that space there. So the first step is to somebody's interest and we're really getting, in that now. After we would get the zoning approved, what we're gonna do now is then talk to highways and say highways, okay, who do we have to talk to have access if we're gonna build in whatever development in that area? And I know many people have heard that it's, hotelers are looking at that space. If we're gonna move a developer into that area, what's the highway access look like? What agreements do we need with the No Frills organization to be able to share an access? Does it work? Does it have its own access? And sort of move those steps forward. I know Jonathan has had discussions as recently as last week with somebody that wants to come to town in April and look at the space. So it is an interesting space. So that's where it's at. But like I said, the end of the day, it doesn't, because you changed the zoning, it's still up to council to approve any development in that area. And this council is not changing that to change that to commercial strip and a strip mall across the center. There is still a vision of, Sunset Park, the dock, develop the dock area to be more functional in a nicer way, and maybe there's other things that can happen down there. I don't know if I missed anything.
I don't think so.
Okay, well, seeing no further questions,
Scary question.
okay,
So with taking this green space and changing it to commercial, is there a commitment from council to replace other areas within town limits into green space, offset the loss of this green space?
that's a good question. So what we have to do even prior to getting to this point, we have to submit this application to the planning group. I don't know what the name of their, the planning branch. And they determine the percentage of green space that we have, and we have a lot more than we meet those requirements for a community. So we're not lacking green space in this community. So if we were taking away a lot of green space, you're right, then we would have to be looking for another spot to develop. But at this time, we're not looking at developing any more parks, other than strengthening the parks that we have, such as the work that our staff have done around the recreational hub upgrades and making that a more functional space down there. Which is, looking at a $3 million investment. 2 million likely coming from the community.
And there is a big underutilized green space
On the other side,
at the highway, that seems to be ignored. It's bigger than Devon Park green space.
and I think,
If a developer wants to come into Devon Park, let them, for goodness sakes. I mean, it's prime land. Make the park on the other side,
I agree,
100 steps away.
great opportunity to make that a more active space.
Where were you 20 years ago?
I was here.
Another question. So with this piece of paper that we're circulating here, it says hotel. Is the council prepared to say anything to the public tonight about what that vision is?
It's a hotel. That's interesting right now.
Different kinds of hotels.
Yeah, we don't have the design of that, so go ahead.
Once the area is rezoned, looks like they'll probably have to, right? It's not up to council to say who can come in. We have the final decision whether we want to sell property. Could be a hotel. Certainly, we're gonna ask for something that's gonna fit the area, but we can't dictate a hotel. We want this kind, we don't want a bar. We've had people say it's gonna be a hotel, it's gonna be a restaurant, it's gonna be a mezzanine floor, there's gonna be maybe condos on top. The sky's the limit. Bottom line is, any development is gonna bring in tax dollars. And tax dollars is what the community needs. We've got to increase the tax base. Any community that has a riverfront, they develop it. Ours is not developed at all. A number of years ago, there was some little bit of work done, they put some gravel and some rocks and then this little sign, and nothing's happened since. With the mayor said, we want to develop the whole area, hotel might be part of that. Right now, people don't use the park. People that are using the park are the people that's why we have community safety officers, to keep them out of there, because they're basically scaring people away from walking around down there. It's gonna be highly used, it's gonna be beneficial to the communities and the place where you want to go. As the mayor says, if the Rotary Club, want to put something in there, that'd be great, we'll get more traffic. If the Trappers Festival have talked about putting in something permanent for a festival, a building of some sort. And we don't know if there's gonna be a commercial aspect to that, they might put a store in there. Right now, in the park, if we only rezoned part of it, they couldn't do that, so the ideal benefit is rezone it all, and then we can make it functional, pay where the dock is, make it a pleasant place for our community to use and visitors. There possibly could be a place down there for people to park trailers like there used to be. And we had a change house down there, but because that was the only thing that was there, it got wrecked. People couldn't park there because it wasn't safe. The people were having their things stolen and all the rest of it. So we're gonna make it more functional. It's gonna be well lit. It's gonna look much better than what's the bottom line. That's our vision, and that's what we want to happen, try happen. And any business going in any community, it's all about location, 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 location. They want location. There's big locations. So we want to, and as Mayor mentioned, there's a caveat on some of the property there for the history of Devon Park, so to speak. We're talking, we want to recognize that there'll be something put in the park area, that whole area that we're zoning, commemorating the history of Devon Park, why it's called Devon Park, put a plaque in there, a bronze plaque, and commemorate it so it's not lost.
What I would say too, though, is just on top of that, is that at the end of the day, council will approve or not approve whatever goes in there. So if somebody comes in and wants to build a 16-foot skyscraper it doesn't fit what the council of the day wants, it's denied. This really just makes it ready.
And like any property the town sells, there's a development agreement. So there's where we have our hands in the mix there. So what has to happen, what you're gonna do, here are the guidelines, you have to adhere to that. So we're just not gonna say, sell to somebody, okay, you're gonna build a hotel, go ahead. John will enter into a development agreement with all the specifics, so there's no surprises.
Okay, any other further questions? Okay, so submission of a resolution.
Resolution 2026-057, moved by Councillor Hopper, seconded by myself. Resolved that bylaw number 4666, being a bylaw in Town of the Paw, to amend Town of the Paw zoning bylaw number 4599 be read a second time.
So no, I don't believe we need to discuss any further. Call the question, all in favor? None against, and carried. Third reading.
Resolution number 2026-058, moved by Councillor Hopper, seconded by myself. Resolve the bylaw number 4666, being a bylaw of the Town of the Paw, to amend Town of the Paw zoning bylaw number 4599 be read a third time and passed.
And this is a third reading, this is a recorded vote. So starting
I
with,
have a question or comment.
Yep.
I'd be remiss if I didn't say something. I never listened to my wife, and she said, no, don't say anything about that. Anyway.
don't say it then, don't say
I'm
it.
gonna say it. Last time we tried this, for other development down there, there was a big outcry in the community and about loss of green space. A lot of those people are still in town. I'm kind of surprised they're not here tonight because nothing's changed. We're doing the same thing, but they're not here. So why they're not here is because Council of Dave was right. It wasn't because of a loss of green space. It was because of a loss of green space that you thought you might lose in your wallet.
Okay, with that, call the question, Councillor Allen. Aye. Councillor Atkins, or Deputy Mayor Atkinson,
Aye.
Counselor Commodore is absent, Counselor Forster. I marked the wrong one, Counselor Forces. Counselor Hopper,
Favor.
Counselor Manich.
Aye.
And I am also in favor. All right. Motion to adjourn. Motion to adjourn. Thank you for coming. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you soon.
For your positive comments too.
Yes.